As I mentioned in the last episode, I want to build a doomsday bunker, but it needs to be a little more than just that. I got the idea from the Odd Ape. He's been doing several videos, and he's done a bunker that he's constructed, and he went back in and just got done revising it. And some of the ideas that I had from his first bunker that I thought, ooh, what if he did this? He's put into place, which is really cool. But there's one aspect of it that I want to do. I don't know how practical it's going to be, but this game, especially the way I do things, it's not about being practical. It's about being having shenanigans, going above and beyond what is normal in a game. So that's what we're going to do in this one. And it's going to be going in this area right over here. So I'm going to kind of start clearing some stuff out here. And while I do that, I'm going to show you a video from my single player test world where I kind of put this into practice and just kind of tested some stuff. Okay, so let me work on this, and then we'll come back. All right, before we jump into the test world, I do want to go over a few things. Now, what I've done is I've made a copy of the JSON file for the drifter mechanic within the game. So for you that don't have a lot of programming knowledge, basically this is what creates the drifter. And gives it its life. I guess I shouldn't say creates it, but at least it gives it its life, okay? It defines it, you know, and what it can and can't do, what its roles are, etc., etc. We're not going to go into a lot of this, but if you want to understand that a little bit more, go check out Flexible Games. Buggy's done a great job of doing a tutorial on modding, and he explains the JSON files and helps kind of make it a little clearer, very easy to understand. He's the authority that I go to, so check him out. But let's go down here first. Let's talk about the spawn conditions. Okay, so drifters fall under a hostile mob, and there's a max quantity that can spawn in the world. So it's 14 normal, 8 deep, 7 tainted, 6 corrupt, 5 nightmare. Okay, so the next bit of code I want to talk about is the seek entity code. Now, each behavior aspect of a drifter is given a priority code. 1.2, 1.5, 1.5, I think it goes up to like 2 for some of these. Yeah, priority code 2 for attacking. So if they're within range, their priority code tells them attack. Okay? If they're not within range, but they're within a certain distance, then the priority code says to throw a stone at the entity. Okay, that's where they start throwing rocks at us. If they're outside of that range, which is 15 blocks, but inside 20 blocks, it's seek entity. They're gonna try to track you down. Everything outside of that area is determined as idle or wander. So if they spawn outside of that 20 block radius, they're not going to come towards you. They're going to kind of hold off there, and they're going to go through their different animations. They'll wander. They'll move in certain directions. And if they come within that range, that seek range of 20 blocks, then they'll take off after you. If they get within 15 blocks, or you get within 15 blocks of them, then the throw will take over. And if they get, right up next to you, well, then, the melee attack takes place. So it's this bit of code that we're going to try to exploit with this farm, the seek entity. We want to build an area so that when they get within 20 blocks, they try to pathfind to us. And what we're going to do, what I want to do with this mob farm, is create a path that leads to the player, but is booby trapped. So that way they can't actually get to the player, but they don't know that. That's what we're going to try to exploit. So if we're able to exploit that properly, we can get the drifters to actually pathfind into our trap, get collected into a central area, and then we can dispatch them. Keep them in a safe, secure area where we can get to them, limit their ability to get to us, and then dispatch them. Okay, here we are in a little test world I've created. And this is what I've come up with as far as just using a Mob-O-Vator. This is just like what we do in Minecraft. basically create a water channel that will move the mobs into a certain point, kind of control them. Now, the behavior of drifters in Vintage Stories does have some drawbacks. For example, the signs that we use to hold back water, those can inhibit movement of the drifter. So you'll see when I get this thing going here, you'll see that there'll be an instance where drifters may hang up right on the edge of that sign instead of dropping in. Two, mobs can fight against the water current at a pretty good rate. So we've had to do a couple of things here to kind of to take care of that. And so I'll show that one behavior that I talked about, that seek behavior, they have to be within 20 blocks and they have to be able to pathfind to you. So what I've done is I've created a area here that has 2 trapdoors on it. Now they ignore trapdoors, okay? So when there's a trapdoor in an area, they don't realize that they can't get through to you, okay? They're going to continue to try to walk and they're going to move. So you'll see them when we go in here, they'll actually not hang up quite as often when they get up here. And then the regular mob mechanic of traveling up the water, create a source block. Now, I don't know if every single one has to be a source block. I haven't tested it. I'll just use that as a disclaimer. I have not tested anything other than solid water blocks all the way up the tube. But in Vintage Story, it's not hard because you can refill a water bucket from, an infinite water source in Vintage Story is 1 block. So we can create that and just, as we travel up, grab the water below us and put it above us, just keep right on going. These are really easy to build in Vintage Story because there's no drowned mechanic, right? So really simple. Now this is something that I don't think you have to have, but I did put a fence post in here for them to land on. Now fence posts represent, I think it's 1.25 block height. So what it does, it just raises them up just enough that they can't get to you. They can reach you. If you're standing here, they can still hit you with their melee attack, but throwing stones and stuff, they can't. But if you're standing up, like where I am, right up against this right here, usually they can't get to me. So if I get up next to the fence, like that, they can. But if I'm standing right here, they haven't been able to get to me yet. Now, some of the really, really bad mobs, like I actually manually spawned in some of the 2-headed drifters. Yeah, they can get you, and they can one-shot you. So if you're not wearing armor, so be cautious of those. But anyway, so this is what I've come up with as far as the channeling system. And let me get a couple of drifters that we can run through here. And you're going to see that with the height of this thing, it will result in a death on the surface drifters. Sometimes on the deep drifters, but most of the time they're down to like half a heart. So I'll put this guy here. That's an instant death. That can be an instant death, but it usually takes at least 1 hit. These guys usually take 2 hits to kill. And then when you get into the tainted and the double-headed drifters, the nightmare drifters usually take 3 hits to kill them after they've dropped. And the double-headed drifters can take quite a bit more than that. So just be aware of that. So what I'm going to do then is just kind of spawn a guy in here. And with me being in peaceful mode, he may not try to get to me. So let me go into... Let's go into game mode 1. Let's see if he makes his way over here. He may be stuck on that. There he goes. There's his melee attack. So the water should push them. And like I said, they can still fight against the current pretty good. But once they get picked up, they're going. And now the other part, I guess let me go back into this. Oh, he's getting ready to fall. I may have to give him a little push up there. They will, through entity cramming, they will eventually just get into the point where they just start falling on each other. Not entity cramming, but enemy spacing when they get to be enough of them in there. they'll start falling. Throw a couple in there. Go, boys. So the surface drifters, they'll just die on impact when they hit. Now, I suspect, I suspect that loot tables are affected by crush instead of by player damage. That may be a possibility, but we know there's not really a whole lot that these guys give us anyways from the surface drifters. So deep drifters have a little bit of a better loot table, but not all that great. There they go. And we're going to throw a couple more of these guys in here too. There we go. Get back into regular game mode. So now you can see a little bit better about how they were coming. See, now they're kind of coming towards me. And that helps. If I had just the glass right there in that spot, you would see that it was a little bit harder for them to get over to me. There they go. So there you can see the throw behavior in place there. And again, if I come down here, now they start attacking each other. But you can see that they can't throw at me. And if I get up here too close, like some of these, the tougher drifters will be able to get to me. So you may want to make sure that you have something that's going to space you out. Okay, so let's go over how this is working. First of all, let's talk about water. Water will move like 7 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks. So from the source out, that's source being 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 blocks away is where it'll stop at. There is a JSON file that talks about water behavior, but I have not seen, and I've tested it over and over, I don't see the water items being moved through the water with more force at this end versus at this end. What I do see is that drifters have the ability to fight against the current a little better when it's right at the end of it than it does when it's farther up. So keep that in mind. Seek range at 20 blocks from where the player is standing. I've got these columns that are set up around here to kind of show where the 20 block radius is. So if you're going to build this farm, you're probably going to want to build it within a specified chunk and then use the chunk borders for bringing the mobs into you. So 20 to 20, that would be 40, and a chunk is 32. So you're going to be just inside a chunk width there. Also, let's look at this area right here that I've got set up. So the water source block is here. As it comes across, you can see that they were hanging out, and that's because of the size of that. See, I'm stuck against it right now. I'm pushing, and I'm actually stuck up against it. If I was on this side, I'd pass right by it. So that is a problem with the collision box on the sign. It impacts everybody. So, but I've been looking for an alternative on something I could do there, and I actually thought about possibly putting like a little chisel bit there and seeing if that would be enough to hold back the water and keep them from getting caught on it. Coming in this way, we have a sign here to hold this water block. That's actually an air block down there, so their head comes into water here. That should be enough once they stop fighting against it to pull them up. They are going to come back up into another air block here. I could prevent this from happening. I think we would be okay if we actually got rid of this and put another water block here. My worry was about how water would flow across it. You'll see that the water is set back 1 extra block, so that way they're not coming up into a source block of water. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 5th one. So the water, you'll see, is actually at the highest point. But as you can see, they were still able to fight against the current. And even like right now, I just drifted right to this point and didn't fall off. So there is a chance that you can have them kind of hang up here, but usually not for very long. If you've got a lot of drifters coming through, they're going to come through toot sweet. So not much to worry about there. Let's get back out of here. All right, so we saw the schematic. You know, we saw how we built that for don't rain. Ugh. So we saw that one built. So here is kind of the first iteration I've got of this. I'm going to go into spectator mode. There we go. And so we do have, this is the platform area, the idea that I've got for the platform. So basically, this area right across here should be no issue at all. They should be looking at this and say, hey, there's 2 trap doors here. We're idiots, but we think we can walk across that. So that's how drifters think. So the drifters will be able to come across here. They'll see these doors. These can be opened up, and they see, hey, I have a straight path to this person. So if they're within 20 blocks, they'll just come running straight towards these doors and drop into these channels. These channels will then funnel them over into the normal just elevator going up. There's the 2 trap doors right there that makes them think that there's still access on the other side, so that's good. But they'll just pull them up here, pull them across, drop them down, and they land on a splat pad. Now this splat pad I'm doing with just a normal stone block, not doing anything different. And I did notice then when I was testing this that I was getting hit a little more often. So something to think about. Down below here, the difference on this one and the other one is where I put in the idea of, can I put in a spawn pads and funnel them through. So far I've not had any success with this. I haven't seen any of them spawn. So this may not be possible. But the difference between fiction and non-fiction is that fiction still exists with possibilities. So I want to say that there's still a possibility, there's still a chance that we might be able to create spawnable pads and have them spawn. I think right now the biggest issue is I think I'm with like 24 blocks, maybe 28 blocks. So I got to get outside that 32 block range. I think that's what's affecting this one. So need to put in another one down below. And see if that helps. Now, you'll see I have been going around. See, there's one I'm spawning, just despawned. I have been going around and lighting up this area to try to keep spawn rates, keep the spawns down underneath the world, and that way we just get spawns in this area. But still, no dice, nothing's happened so far. And even if I were to move, quite a ways back away from here, well, all I would do is just get into an area where other areas where they could spawn in other areas. See, there's one there. There's despawn right there. There's a bell. So as I move away from the farm, I start creating spawns in other areas of the world. So not really sure that this is going to work at this rate, but we're going to try it anyways. Okay, so the idea is, let me get back into and make sure I've got some armor on. I do. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to run this thing through to see what it does. Now, there's one thing I wanted to check here. Yeah. So before I do, I want to put a couple of lights right here. And that's primarily, this needs to come over a little bit farther over here. This is primarily because there is in the mechanic that they can spawn anywhere there's at any light level during a temporal storm. And I have not quite got this area figured out. I've had a couple that have spawned in this area and then come bum rushed me. So we're going to try this with the doors closed first. And we're going to see if we get any right at the door. If we don't, then I'll open it up. Okay. So if you don't know, there's a command that you can say next. I think it's all one word. Temp storm. Yep. and it'll tell you how many days away it is till your next temporal storm. If you do the exact same thing, but then you put now, it starts a temporal storm. So we just started a temporal storm, and I'm going to go into game mode 1 now. So I'm back in survival, and let's see what happens. Okay, so like I said, see right there? There's one right there at the door, so he was able to spawn inside this area here and came right to the door. So, yeah, we're going to keep the doors closed during this one. There's one. Yep, he fell into it. There you go. So one hit on him. That was a tainted drifter, and that was a one-hit kill on him. That was another corrupt drifter. That was a 2-hit kill there. So there you go. We're going to ride out the rest of this temporal storm, see what else we can get. I don't hear a lot of them out about, so really do believe that having this door closed is affecting those rates. That if they were, the door was not open, or if the door was open, the ones that were closer or farther around would probably see a better way of getting to me. But let's just do one thing real quick. Let's go into this. Let's go down, just see if anything's spawning down in here. No. Okay. Looking out and about. Okay, yeah, there's just not a whole lot. There's a couple back here on this side of me. And doesn't look like they're that they're seeing me as being able to get to me. So I think that has something to do with the doors being open. So let's open that door up. There's one coming. See that behavior just coming straight towards the door. And there he is. So you can see he's doing the throw rock animation, but he's not getting contact with me. So there's two. Yeah, pretty nice. Now this one is more, I think the earlier one, I may not have mentioned that. The earlier one I've got set at about, I think it was like a 24, 25 block drop. This one's up around 30. I wanted to make sure that I had the opportunity of getting some of these more deadlier ones to drop and die. Okay. So that is the concept, the idea I've got in place here. This is what we're going to build. Not quite looking like this on the Rusty Gears server. We got to come up with something a little better. Hey, welcome back in here. All right, so we're back on the Rusty Gears server, and we've seen what I want to do, and this is what I've got built so far. So this is the guts of it, and this is going to be inside of what I'm expecting to be a American Gothic church, high steeple, pitched roof, all of that. I wasn't really sure about the church, but it does kind of go with the Roseland Cottage look that I have going on with that pink. So I don't know. I think I can make it work. So what this is going to do is we're going to have the church entrance, of course, is going to be probably here on the side, letting them come in. And then this is the walkway coming across that they'll be able to fall into. Now, I don't suspect that we'll get spawns up here, but if we do, I've put a secondary catch up here that will activate. And then this will be an open pathway coming down into the sub-basement where we'll be to work on the trap. And that'll be right here. So this is the kill pit right here where we'll be catching them and knocking them out and looting them and all of that. And then they'll be funneled down. That trap will funnel them in. And they'll go into the water trap that is here. Now this has the, let me get these off my, so we're going to be going into some water. Let's get that out of there. This is going down to the spawn pads down here, and I got the water deactivated for just now, so nothing will come up on me. And there's torches up there, but that's the spawn pads. They'll come up here. Here's the water chute from the, let's see if I can get in there. Here we go. This is the water chute that will bring them down from up high. They'll drop in right here, land in the water, get pushed down into here. They'll make their way into this as well. And then they'll start their pathway going up, just like the ones from down below. So that's how it's all going to get brought together. These are the trap doors so they see access if they're inside this area on how to get to me. So those access doors there. So let me get this all closed up. And now it's just a matter of finding a water source, getting in here, and starting the upward climb. So let me get my control button hit. There we go. Grab the water down below. Pop the water in. Oh. And there we go. And now we're up to the next level. And we're just going to keep doing this until we get to the top. And then I'll come back. All right. So, made it up here to the top. Pretty nice. So now what we need to do is we need to put in the water path that's going to lead them over there. Now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to put a sign. I'm glad I had a sign. Let's see. Need a little more food. Okay. So now we're going to need to put a block. I think it's going to need to go back here just one more space back. So let's see if I can hold shift key and not fall to my doom. Like that. Okay. And then we need to have a sign on here that will prevent the water from going down inside that area, but we want to make sure that this comes right up to the surface. So that'll be right there. Here we go. And oh, actually, nope, that's going to be a sign right there. Yeah, that'll be a sign there. Okay, so let me get out of this. Drop in our water source. And now we're going to drop in our water source. And that pushes it right over to the edge. Cool. So now the only thing left to do here is just to kind of button this top part up. And hopefully I've got enough blocks to do this. I do not. All right, let's see. All right, let me get down and grab me some more blocks. Should I take the fast way down? No, we're not going to take the fast way. We'll go this way. And the guts are done. To make sure I go out and get all those ladders back. Actually, I got to go all the way down, don't I, and break those stones that are down there at the bottom. So let's go down. Hear them? Hear them? And they're going. Listen to them. Wow. That's crazy. You hear that? Oh, they're hitting me. Oh, shoot. Let's see. How am I going to do this? How am I going to get this out of here now? Holy cow. As I said, this thing's a little bit overpowered, I believe. This is gonna this is gonna be sending a bunch of guys our way. Wow. And this is only one spawn pad. I may have to do something different here. I may have to Let's see. Can I get through there? I may have to get out of the area, let things despawn, and then get back in there because that sounded like. Now we know there's a cap, so there's probably only at the max maybe 14 drifters in that area. Oh, that's insane. That is insane. But there you go. You get to see it. Actually, it is working. They are spawning down there on the spawn pads. We're gonna have to get out of this area and let things kind of despawn, I think, and then we'll run back over here and get that cleared out. So, yep, that worked. Oh, there's a guy there. He's dead though. There's two of them dead there too. And that's one of the things that they get, where they were trying to attack me and they end up attacking each other. All right, let's clear this here. All right, let's go check things out. We should have everything cleared up. And now it's going to come down to kind of troubleshooting areas, seeing where they're getting hung up at and not moving through. And then we'll just have to wait for the next temporal storm and grab ourselves a little spot down here. But I'll need to get the rest of this finished up before the next temporal, before we can actually sit here during a temporal storm. We'll have to have this done. But one of the things I do like to do is usually keep one of these open. And that way it kind of spurns them to go ahead and come towards us if they're down in the spawn chamber. So I'm going to hang out here for a little bit and see if anything comes through. They may not. It's one of those things that the spawn mechanic of the game, it's not as predictable as what you get with Minecraft. So these mob farms are a little difficult to come up with. But I think where I've got that first spawn pad at, we can go above it and we can go below it. Because remember, from when we're showing the code, it's, they'll attack within, they'll move towards the player when they're within 20 blocks. When they are outside of that 32 block range, they're going to wander. So as long as we keep the next 2 spawn pads or 3 spawn pads, however many we want to put in, as long as we keep them in this general area right here, and down no more than 60 blocks, we should be able to get some pretty good spawns. And remember, the other Rastafarians on this server, they're going around and they're going through caves and they're putting down blocks and making them spawn proof. So that's going to force more spawning to come through these pads than they would normally be. So I think this situation is going to be very beneficial for having a mob farm right here. So I'm going to hang out here for a little bit and then we'll call the episode. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's a drifter. He just went flying past me here, going up to the top. So we should let's come down here. Now, of course, that's one of the things we've talked about when we are in the test world is that, one of them can usually do a pretty good job of kind of holding out from not falling in. Once you start getting 2 or 3 going through an area, that's when you're going to start seeing them drop and plop a little more frequently. So kind of hanging out over here and listening. Oh, he's right there. He did fall. He just didn't make it all the way down. There's another one just fell in on us. Awesome. Let's get this guy harvested. So that looks like something I'll have to deal with there is, let's see if I can jump up here. Is them landing in that little area right there. That's going to be a problem. But you can see these guys are falling. Hey, there's our first piece of flax. These guys are falling. They're getting crush damage. They're not going to survive the drop in, which is what we want. This means that we're going to be able to harvest these guys without using durability on a sword, just using a knife for getting the drops off of them. And I'm going to have to do something so that I can get a little bit higher here. Let's see, where's he at? Right here. There he is. So, yep, we're going to have to do something about the drop in so they don't get hung up there, because we don't want these guys to go to waste. All right. So there you go. What do you think? Combined mob farm and temporal storm shelter all in one. I think this is going to work out pretty good for us. I can't wait to get it completed. It's going to take a lot of build. I may get some extra help on this. You know, there's some pretty talented people on this server. They might be interested in this. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. And I'm not saying that this is the end-all, be-all of mob farms, but I think it's a start. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of people building mob farms in Vintage Story, so this will be interesting to see what this is going to spawn you all to do. So go ahead, start working on your own mob farms. Work on the concepts I've laid out here. Go check out Odd Ape also. Odd Ape had a video where he's got his storm shelter, his temporal storm shelter built. Go check out how he's done it as well. And see if you can put something together that may improve upon these. Okay? Hey, folks, thanks for spending this time with me. This is Shino, and we'll see you next time. Take care.